One of the things that we're going to talk about is that summer, the summer solstice, which is the beginning of Cancer, starts this Wednesday at 7:09 p.m. If you live on the East Coast, if you live on the West Coast, summer starts at 4:09 p.m. on the West Coast. So the summer solstice is coming. It's upon us. The sun is at the northernmost point in the earth. That's when we get summer here in New York City, and it starts winter in places like Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So summer is coming. Get ready for it. Now, what else is going on? And I'm getting calls from my viewers around the country, and I host on WBAI 99.5 FM. If you're up this morning at 4 a.m., you can listen to me live on the air from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. But one of the things that people have been talking about and have been asking me about is the current Venus retrograde. Now, if you haven't watched the show for a couple of weeks, Venus has been retrograde since May 15th. We got one more week to go, and then Venus goes direct. I've been getting calls from people, Z Starman, and Venus is the planet of love, affection, and money, and how you handle it. And right now, Venus is in the constellation of the sign of Gemini, and it's retrograde. And a lot of people, a good friend of mine, he called me up and said, people are breaking appointments, they're not keeping their appointments. I got friends who are calling me up saying, I'm having problems in my relationship, there's no communication. This is what happens during Venus retrograde. You feel like you're in a funk with your loved one, with your significant other, your business plans, they seem to go out the window during this time. Now, Venus only retrogrades now over about once every 20 months. Venus is retrograde. Now, we have a Mercury retrograde that's coming up next month on July 14th. And as I've said in the past and in previous shows, starting from January of this year, that 2012 is the year of the retrograde. It seems like it's one retrograde after another. We started the year with a Mars retrograde. Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Libra right now. So I know a lot of Libra people have been calling me up, or if you have Libra rising, Libras are taking a hit right now. Number one, because your ruling planet, Venus, your ruling planet is retrograde right now. And Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Libra. So a lot of Libra people are under stress, and they're confused, and they can't get any understanding of what's going on. And it's the planets that are affecting us. It affects all of us. And if you would like to know how the planets are affecting you, please give me a call, 212-757-1483. The call is absolutely free. Operators are standing by for you to get a free astrology reading. Now, again, Venus is retrograde until June 27th. So a lot of wedding plans have been put off. It's not a good time to get married or make love to a new individual for the first time during a Venus retrograde. Again, Venus has been retrograde since May 15th, 2012, and it's going direct on June 27, almost a week, 8 days from today. So hold off on those business plans. Venus gives you the opportunity to go back and check money, check your relationship, check your business plans. And then when the 27th comes around, when Venus goes direct, then you can plan accordingly. On a numerology level, today is a number 2 personal day. If we add up the day's date, June 18th, 2012, and reduce it to a single number, we get the number 2. And it's so apropos that today is a 2 universal day. 2 is about coming together, being peaceful, being able to work with one another. A lot of people, they're out there, people, we have to work together as a common ground. Forget differences, forget I don't like this one, I don't like this one, she's too tall, he's too handsome. You know, there are a lot of haters out there. And today is a number 2 universal day. It's about coming together. And speaking of the number 2, yesterday out in Los Angeles, if you haven't heard by now, Rodney King passed away in Los Angeles, California. Rodney King, of course, is famous for the beating that he took at the hands of the Los Angeles Police Department. And his birthday was April 2nd. Rodney King's birthday was April 2nd, 1965. So he was born on a 2. And one of the things that always stand out about Rodney King, of course, he's an Aries. He had the sun in Aries, he had the moon in Aries, he had Mercury in Aries, and he had Venus in the sign of Aries. But the thing that he said that will live on in American history after those riots, and I was in California. I was in California on April 29th, 1992, when the riots broke out. I was filming an independent film at that time, and of course, filming had to cease. But one thing that Rodney King said is that, can't we all just get along? That will always stick with me, and it should stick with you also. On this number 2 personal day, let's get along. Let's forget our differences. If we have differences, let's talk to each other instead of talking about or talking behind each other's back and saying all kinds of negative things, because what you put out into the universe, it'll bounce back on you. So make this a day to start all things new and all things positive, because this is a 2 universal day. And again, remember Rodney King, the late Rodney King. Again, he's an Aries, born April 2nd, 1965. And he had 4 planets in the sign of Aries. So I guess that Aries strength, Aries is that military physical action ruled by the planet Mars. And I've watched the beating that he took. He was struck 51 times. And only an Aries can withstand that beating and that punishment. So rest in peace, Rodney King.